Part 1, Shadows on the Asphalt. Prologue, The Highway Ignites. The Arizona sun blazed like a furnace over I-40, turning the asphalt into a shimmering river of heat and defiance, a stretch of American road where dreams rolled on 18 wheels and danger lurked in the dust. This was no place for the faint-hearted, it was a battleground for those who carried the lifeblood of the nation, from truckers hauling freight to outlaws chasing power. On this scorching morning, March 8, 2025, Jenna Hayes gripped the wheel of her rig, her eyes locked on the horizon, unaware that fate was about to slam the pedal to the metal. Behind her, a trailer hummed with medical supplies, lifelines for kids fighting to breathe in a Houston hospital. Beside her, two German shepherds, Titan and Rex, sat coiled like springs, their amber eyes scanning the road with a vigilance forged in war. The Sand Vipers, a motorcycle gang born from the desert's grit and America's underbelly, roared onto the blacktop, their engines snarling like wolves closing in for the kill. Led by Rattler Kane, they'd graduated from petty theft to a dark empire of drugs and guns. And today, they wanted Jenna's cargo. What they didn't know, what they couldn't know, was that Titan and Rex weren't just dogs. They were veterans of over 200 missions in Iraq. Decorated heroes who'd sniffed out bombs and taken down insurgents. When Rattler spat his threat, "Call off your mutts, or we'll bury you first," he lit the fuse on his own downfall. Over 72 brutal hours across 3 states, one woman and her loyal K9s would turn the tables, proving that some highways are guarded by warriors who never back down, and some fights are won with teeth, grit, and an unbreakable American spirit. The dashboard clock glowed 4:45 a.m. as Jenna Hayes eased her 18-wheeler out of the Tucson depot, the low rumble of her Cummins engine cutting through the pre-dawn silence. Titan rested his head on her leg, his graying muzzle warm against her jeans, while Rex perched in the passenger seat, ears twitching like radar. These weren't just her companions, they were her brothers in arms. Survivors of Iraq's chaos now riding shotgun on America's highways. "Long haul ahead, boys," she murmured, scratching Titan's ears. Their tails thumped in unison, but their eyes stayed sharp, scanning the road like they'd done on countless patrols. Jenna flipped on the CB radio, static crackling before a voice broke through. "Heads up, eastbound I-40, Sand Vipers hit the dusty trails stop last night. Shaken down rigs again." Her grip tightened on the wheel. The Sand Vipers were a plague, once just bikers with a chip on their shoulder, now a full-blown criminal outfit running guns and dope across the Southwest. Her fuel gauge hovered at half, she'd need a stop soon, but dusty trails was off limits. "Thanks for the tip," she replied, voice steady. "Any clean stops ahead?" A woman's voice cut in, warm with a faint Texan drawl. "This is Maria, westbound. Coyote Pass at mile 142 is clear, rolled through an hour ago." "Appreciate it, Maria." "Stay safe," Jenna said, checking her mirrors, a reflex from years of convoy runs in war zones. The horizon glowed purple as the sun clawed its way up, casting long shadows across the desert. Rex's ears snapped forward, and Jenna's gut tightened. Ahead, 5 motorcycles peeled onto the highway, leather vests flashing the Sand Viper's coiled snake patch. "Easy, boys," she said, her voice low. Titan and Rex shifted, muscles tensing, their training kicking in like a switch. The bikers fanned out, hogging both lanes, a deliberate blockade. The CB hissed again, "Jenna, it's Maria." Words out, more Vipers heading east from Winslow. They're boxing rigs in. "Watch yourself." Jenna's mind raced, years of tactical drills flooding back. "Copy that, Maria." "Got 5 in front now," she said, her calm belying the storm brewing inside. In her mirrors, chrome glinted, 7 more bikes closing in from behind. She recognized the patch on their leader, Rattler Kane, the Viper kingpin himself. "They're not playing today," she muttered, reaching for a duffel bag behind her seat. It wasn't her usual gear. Inside were relics of her military past, a sat phone, a first aid kit, and tactical vests for Titan and Rex. She'd kept them sharp, running drills in the desert, never imagining she'd need them stateside. The lead biker ahead raised a hand, signaling her to stop. "Jenna, it's Maria, I'm turning back." 10 miles out. "Hang tight," came the voice over the radio. Jenna smirked faintly. "Might need you to call in the cavalry if this goes south." The bikers ahead slowed, forcing her to ease off the gas. Through her windshield, she spotted their second-in-command, Blade Torres, his scarred face twisted in a sneer. Her mind flashed to Iraq, same problem, different enemy, surrounded. Outnumbered, with lives on the line. The medical supplies weren't just cargo, they were hope for kids fighting rare diseases, kids who'd die without them. She'd sworn to protect the innocent back in uniform. And that oath didn't expire. "Looks like we're earning our stripes today, boys," she said, slipping a tactical vest from the bag. "Time to show these punks what real American muscle looks like." The Sand Vipers closed in, engines growling like a pack of rabid dogs. Blade pulled alongside her cab, revving hard. "Pull over, lady," he bellowed, voice cutting through the wind. Jenna kept her eyes forward, steady as steel. In her mirrors, Rattler gestured, tightening the noose. The CB crackled, "This is Trooper Daniels, Arizona Patrol. Reports of harassment on I-40, any rigs out there? Sound off." Jenna keyed the mic, "Trooper, this is Jenna Hayes, eastbound at mile 155. 15 bikes trying to run me off. Got medical supplies for Houston kids." "Copy, Hayes." "Hold your line, units rolling," Daniels replied, his voice taut. A loud thunk hit her door, one of the bikers had swung a chain. Titan growled, low and lethal, but stayed put. These weren't house pets, they were war machines with discipline etched into their bones. "Last chance, sweetheart." Blade shouted, close enough now she could see the ink snaking up his neck. Jenna flashed her running lights twice, a signal Titan and Rex knew well. Both dogs rose, vests gleaming, their presence a silent threat. Blade swerved, startled. "What the hell, Rattler?" "She's got war dogs," he yelled. Through her mirror, Jenna saw Rattler's face twist, signaling his crew to back off slightly. She knew that look, they were regrouping for something bigger. Her thumb grazed a hidden switch on the wheel, popping side panels on her rig, legal mods she'd installed after too many close calls. No guns, just high-intensity strobes and smoke canisters. Straight out of a military playbook. "Maria, if you're still out there, things are about to get loud," she said into the CB. "Warn Daniels to hustle." She flipped the switches. And the highway erupted, smoke billowed behind her, strobes flashing like a 4th of July nightmare. The bikers scattered, blinded and choking, their formation crumbling. Through the haze. Rattler pulled alongside, his voice a snarl, "This ain't over, lady. We know what you're hauling, and we'll take it, one way or another." Jenna's blood chilled, they knew about the meds. This wasn't random, it was a hit. Red and blue lights flickered in the distance as troopers closed in. The Vipers peeled off down side roads, vanishing into the desert. "Trooper Daniels. They confirmed they're after my cargo," she radioed. "This was planned." "Copy, Hayes. Pull into Coyote Pass, we need to talk," Daniels replied, his tone grim. Jenna glanced at Titan and Rex. Their eyes still locked on the retreating threat. "Good boys," she said, voice steady. "That was just the opening act. Something tells me the main event's coming." The sun climbed higher, baking the road ahead. This wasn't just a delivery anymore, it was war, and Jenna Hayes didn't back down from a fight. Part 2, Dust and Deception. Prologue, The Trap Springs. The desert night swallowed I-40 whole, stars glinting like bullet casings over a land where law bent to the will of the bold. This was America's wild heart, where truckers carved paths through chaos and outlaws preyed on the weak. Jenna Hayes wasn't weak. Her rig roared through the shadows, a steel beast carrying hope for dying kids, medical supplies that couldn't wait. But the Sand Vipers, led by Rattler Kane and his shadowy puppet master Cobra Pierce, had other plans. They'd tasted her steel in the morning sun, and now they hungered for revenge, their bikes snarling through the dark like a pack of demons on the hunt. Jenna's hands gripped the wheel, her pulse steady as a drumbeat, while Titan and Rex stood ready, two war-hardened German shepherds who'd faced hell in Iraq and lived to tell the tale. Over 200 missions had honed them into weapons of loyalty and precision. And tonight, they'd need every ounce of that fire. The Vipers weren't just after her cargo anymore. Cobra wanted her dogs, their combat skills a prize worth millions on a black market darker than the asphalt beneath her wheels. As headlights flared in her mirrors and a canyon loomed ahead, Jenna knew the trap was set. But she wasn't prey, she was a predator, and over the next 48 hours, she'd turn their game into a reckoning that'd echo across 3 states. This was America, damn it, and no one messed with a woman, her dogs, and the promise of freedom on the open road. Dusk painted the desert in deep indigo as Jenna's rig rolled into Coyote Pass, dust swirling around her tires like a shroud. Trooper Jack Daniels stood by his cruiser, his weathered face etched with concern as she pulled in. Titan and Rex barked sharply, their vests glinting under the lot's floodlights as Jenna climbed down. "Military K9s, huh?" Daniels said, eyeing the dogs with respect. "They don't mess around." "Neither do I," Jenna replied, her voice edged with steel. "Kept them sharp after we left the service. Looks like it paid off." Daniels cut to the chase. 3 rigs hit in the last month, all medical supplies, all targeted. But this is the first time the Vipers came out in daylight. They're getting bold. Jenna's eyes narrowed. "They knew what I was carrying, how?" Daniels pulled out a tablet, flashing grainy photos of Viper hideouts. "They're not just stealing, they're after specific stuff, painkillers, precursors for meth labs." "But your load?" "Specialized meds for kids." "That's a different game." Another rig rolled in, Maria's truck, her dark hair spilling from a cap as she hopped down. "Made it, Jenna." "No tails," she said, nodding to the dogs. "Your crew's something else." Jenna turned to Daniels. "These supplies, rare treatments for kids with maybe days left. They're worth a fortune on the black market." His jaw tightened. "Which means they've got someone feeding them intel, someone who knows shipping manifests." A grizzled voice interrupted, Sam Carter, the truck stop owner, ex-Marine with a limp from Desert Storm. "Place is secure," he said, eyeing Jenna's rig. "Nice mods, reminds me of my convoy days." "Had to," Jenna said. "Learned the hard way overseas, paranoia saves lives." Sam spread a map across a table. "They've hit rigs here, here, and here," he pointed, always near turnoffs with desert stash spots. Jenna traced the routes, her mind clicking like a tactical clock. Insurgent playbook, inside info, planned ambushes. We'd set decoys in Iraq, throw 'em off. Daniels frowned. "This ain't Baghdad, Hayes." "Tell that to the Vipers," she shot back, her gaze hard. Maria chimed in, "They're chasing me now, think I'm you. Saw 10 bikes trailing my decoy load 15 minutes back." Jenna's sat phone buzzed, "Trooper Daniels, got a tip, more Vipers moving east. No troopers close yet." She studied the map. "They expect me on the main drag, probably got traps set." But these old mining roads. Sam nodded. Rough as hell, but your rig's built for it. Ran myself back in the day. No official escort? Jenna asked Daniels. Not without proof, and if they've got a mole, we can't risk it. She smirked faintly. Good thing Titan and Rex hear better than any radar. Her plan took shape. Maria would keep the decoy rolling on I-40, escorted by troopers, while Jenna took the mining roads, unpredictable, treacherous, but off the Viper radar. Maria, you up for playing bait? Born for it, Maria grinned. Sam handed over recent sat photos. Mining ops shifted the terrain. Watch the left fork at Dead Horse Canyon. Daniels added, got a name, Cobra Pierce. Ex-Special Forces. Runs the Viper's big plays. Might be calling shots now. Night fell as Jenna's rig hit the mining road, dust choking the air. Titan's ears flicked forward. Rex growling low, someone was out there. Sam, movement at 2 o'clock, crackled over the radio from his rooftop perch. 6 bikes pacing you. Headlights flared ahead, blinding. Deliberate. A cold voice cut through, shipment Echo 19, cut your engines, this is restricted turf. They knew her code. Daniels, you hearing this? She whispered. Recording it, probable cause piling up. Hold on, 5 minutes out. Cobra, she breathed, recognizing the tone, professional, lethal. She adjusted the dogs' vests. Sam, any backup routes? Old tunnel, quarter-mile ahead, looks dicey but solid. He replied. The voice returned, Jenna Hayes, Iraq 2018, heard you saved a convoy single-handed. Impressive. But you're outgunned here. Her blood froze, he knew her past. Last chance, stop now. Or your war mutts bleed, Cobra taunted. Jenna's voice was ice, you checked my record, did you miss what happened to the last guy who threatened my dogs? She hit the switches, strobes blazed. Smoke flooded the canyon. Maria, Sam, plan B now, she barked. Maria's decoy rig surged north, splitting the Vipers. Jenna swerved into the tunnel, debris crunching under her tires as Titan and Rex braced for impact. Behind her, bikes roared in pursuit. Cobra's pissed, Sam radioed. They're scrambling. Good, Jenna said, emerging into Cutter's quarry as sirens wailed in the distance. Daniels. You've got your evidence, Cobra's after my dogs, not just the cargo. Federal offense, trafficking military K9s, Daniels confirmed. We're closing in. Jenna checked her dogs, steady. Fierce. He wants you boys for his little empire, she said softly. Not happening. The quarry fell quiet, but Cobra had slipped away. This wasn't over, it was personal now. And Jenna Hayes didn't lose personal fights. Word count, 300. Part 3, Thunder over the Ridge 400 words. Prologue, The Reckoning breaks. Lightning tore the Texas sky apart. Thunder rolling like artillery over a land where the stakes were life, death, and the soul of America itself. The Houston Medical District glowed in the storm's fury, a beacon of hope guarded by concrete and steel, and tonight, by a woman and her dogs who'd stared down hell and laughed. Jenna Hayes wasn't just a trucker, she was a warrior, her rig a fortress carrying salvation for kids clinging to life. But the Sand Vipers and their puppet master, Cobra Pierce, weren't done. They'd chased her across 3 states, their greed of venom poisoning everything they touched, and now they'd brought an army to finish the job. Titan and Rex stood ready, their combat vests gleaming wet in the rain. 200 missions in Iraq had made them legends, and tonight, they'd write a new chapter. Cobra didn't just want the meds. He wanted their skills, their souls, to sell to a black market that traded in blood and betrayal. as headlights pierced the dark and security contractors locked down the hospital. Jenna knew the endgame was here. Over 72 hours, she'd turned their hunt into her war, and on this rain-soaked ridge, she'd show them why America's heart beats strongest in its fiercest defenders. This wasn't just a delivery, it was a stand, and no one took on Jenna Hayes and her K9s without learning the cost of crossing the line. Rain lashed the windshield as Jenna's rig neared Houston, the city's skyline a jagged shadow against the storm. Titan and Rex sat poised, their senses razor-sharp despite the chaos they'd left behind in Arizona. Trooper Daniel's voice crackled, "FBI's on Cobra's trail, his network's bigger than we thought. Ties to hospitals, private contractors. Watch your back." Jenna nodded to herself. "Copy that. Any chatter on Houston?" "Unconfirmed, but assume they've got eyes inside," he warned. Maria's truck rolled ahead, her voice steady, "Checkpoints up ahead, 6 of them, scanning every rig. They're pros." Jenna studied the hospital district through her gear, security teams in unmarked gear, moving with military precision. "Not hospital rent-a-cops," she muttered. "Cobra's PMC buddies." Sam's voice chimed in, "Network's got M-pegged, private contractors, heavy hardware. They're spooked after the quarry." "Good," Jenna said. "Let's use it." The plan was audacious. Maria would draw fire at the main gates, loaded with decoy scents to mimic Titan and Rex, while Jenna slipped through a service entrance with the real cargo. "Maria, you set?" "Locked and loaded," she replied, her rig inching toward the checkpoint. Venom Kane's voice broke through, reformed but fierce, "My crew's got eyes on a back gate. Security's thin there." "Appreciate it, Kane," Jenna said. "Keep 'em honest." Maria hit the checkpoint, and chaos erupted. Scanners blipped wildly, detecting military K9s. "Target acquired," a contractor barked, their focus locking on her rig. Jenna veered down a side road, her truck silent as a ghost. "Daniels, your plainclothes ready?" "In position, service gates clear," he confirmed. Lightning flashed as she rolled in, hospital staff rushing out with gurneys. "Dr. Evans," a man introduced himself, voice urgent. "Kids need these meds now, some won't last the night." "3 compromised staff?" Jenna asked, unloading crates. "FBI's got M," he said. "Security chief and 2 admins." Through her earpiece, Maria laughed, "They're chasing their tails out here. Dog toys work wonders." Daniels cut in, "They're splitting, some heading your way." "Too late," Jenna said, watching the last crate vanish inside. Sirens wailed as Houston PD roared in, the contractors scattering into traffic jams orchestrated by Sam's trucker network. "Hospital secure," Daniels reported. "Meds are in, kids are getting treatment." Jenna exhaled, scratching Titan's ears. "Good boys." A week later, at Sam's truck stop, the team regrouped. Daniel spread FBI files, Cobra's operation hit 6 states, PMC ties, international buyers. He was moving tactical data, not just dogs. Elena grinned, "Kids in Houston are pulling through, families want to meet you." Jenna smiled faintly. "After California." Daniels nodded, "FBI wants you leading a task force, shut down these trafficking rings. You've got full backing." Sam added, "Network's growing, truck stops in 3 states are in." Venom approached, civilian-clad, "My crew's legit now, hospital gigs. We're with you." Jenna studied the California intel, PMC bases, training camps, targeting vulnerable vets. "They're corrupting the bond," she said, voice hard. "Turning dogs into tools." Nash handed her credentials, "You've got the reins, Max and Rex are full partners." She knelt by her dogs, their vests now bearing task force badges. Ready for a new fight, boys? Their tails wagged, warriors, partners, family. The sun rose over the desert as Jenna's rig rolled west. A new mission burning in her veins. Cobra was down, but the war wasn't over, not while dogs and handlers needed her. A lesson forged in dust and thunder. Out on the open roads of America, where the asphalt stretches like a lifeline through the heart of the nation, Jenna Hayes and her war-hardened dogs, Titan and Rex, didn't just deliver medical supplies, they delivered a truth as old as the stars and stripes: loyalty isn't bought. It's earned. Over 72 brutal hours, this trio faced down the Sand Vipers, a gang hellbent on stealing hope from dying kids, and Cobra Pierce, a traitor who'd sell military heroes for profit. What started as a trucker's run turned into a war across 3 states, proving that courage doesn't bow to threats, and the bond between a handler and her dogs is stronger than any enemy's steel. For every American who's ever stood for something, whether on a battlefield overseas or a highway at home, this hits hard. Real strength isn't in numbers or money, it's in trust. Jenna, a former soldier, didn't flinch when the odds stacked high. She fought with Titan and Rex, Iraq vets who'd sniffed out bombs and saved lives, showing that some warriors never retire, they just find new battles. They didn't just protect a cargo, they defended kids they'd never meet, proving that duty isn't a paycheck, it's a promise. When Cobra tried to turn those dogs into commodities, he learned the hard way: you can't put a price on a hero's heart. Think about it, what's worth fighting for in your life? Share your story below, we're all part of this American grit. If Jenna's stand and her dog's unshakable loyalty fire you up, hit like, subscribe, and join us, because in a world of greed, the truest victories belong to those who choose honor over everything else.